Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pillar to Post. This is Pete Wall. I am your host, and today in wrestling, not a whole lot going on when it comes to news. That is for damn sure. Now, I'm going off about an hour and a half of sleep. That's about all I got last night. Had a really shitty night. Having a shitty morning. Still wet outside, still raining. One big pain in the ass, so I can't work on the 98 Polar and do some videos of that. But what little news I did find, I'm going to bring it to you, and maybe discuss some other topics as well. I tend to reflect a lot on the past when it comes to wrestling, and I do that not just on the show, but when I'm sitting at my computer here and I'm on YouTube or whatever, and I'll look up matches from back in the day. And last night I was going through some matches, mainly the British Bulldogs versus the Hart Foundation. And I was trying to compare the length of matches, and I only watched 3 of them. They were all short matches because there's like some shenanigans to end the match early, DQs and stuff like that. But in 10 minutes, there was no wasted motion in those matches, and I appreciate that. I like seeing that in a match, and that is something you don't get in this day and age when it comes to WWE or any other wrestling promotion out there. It is, there's too many times that the wrestler feels the need to posture and pose and antagonize the fans, and to me, especially when it comes to heels, you don't need to mouth off to the fans to actually get over with them. You really don't. Especially when you're in the match already. The match is there to tell the story. And I was watching these old clips yesterday, and they were from the 80s. They were from 86, 87, 88. And like I said, no wasted motion, but every action had a purpose. Every attack had a purpose. And at the time, the Hart Foundation were heels, the British Bulldogs were face. And if you don't know who the British Bulldogs are, wow, I feel fucking old. Dynamite Kid and Davey Boy Smith were the British Bulldogs. And then you had Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart, who were the Hart Foundation. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, I've been thinking for the show, I'd like to do a segment at the end of all the news, discussing, maybe taking a topic like, say, WrestleMania 1, and talking about the main event, or the best, my opinion, in the best match of that pay-per-view. Those are my thoughts. So I would like you to drop a dime in the comment below, in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Would you like me to do something like that? And if you do, I'm going to go for it. But you got to say so in the comments below. I am of the old guard when it comes to wrestling. I enjoy the feel and the intimacy of what they did back then. It made more sense. It was clockwork. Everything had a purpose, everything had a meaning. The storylines, for the most part, went well with the matches they made. The booking was so much better, and it was more exciting. It grabbed you in many different ways. It grabbed at your heartstrings at times. It got you excited and emotional. It got you angry. Made you happy at times, And watching Raw and SmackDown these days, it's very hard to come up with those reactions. Now, every now and then you get a good promo, you get a not too bad match, and it's like a fleeting moment, though, something you don't remember. And to be honest, with what they're doing now in wrestling, I don't see myself remembering very many matches from this era. I remember shitloads of matches from the Attitude Era. I remember a shitload of matches before the Attitude Era. I remember matches from the 80s. I remember matches from when I was a little punk kid. But the current product, I don't remember. I have to make sure I take notes down. Or, at times where I just was too lazy, I actually have to go to wrestling sites and make sure, okay, this is who won that match. That's who won that match. Because I can't remember shit. And that is after, 15 minutes of finishing the episode. So, that is something I would like to do. Now, I don't want to have my audience say, well, you're just looking at the old shit. No, I'm still going to continue with what I do on a weekly basis, but at the end of the podcast, that's when I would like to bring in, say, a review of, the main event at WrestleMania 1, or the first Payback pay-per-view, or the very first Bad Blood, That's what I'm thinking about doing. So if you'd like to hear about that, like I said, drop a dime in the comments below. And let me know how you feel about it, and I will roll with it. I love wrestling, and I hate it the way it's turned into. I hate what the machine has done with the company. And Vince McMahon has a lot to do with it, because he is the head guy of this corporation, and he relies on creative teams that know nothing about the wrestling business. And to me, that is a very sore spot. But moving on. We're going to go into what news we have today, and a little bit of fan reaction to some of the news. The first article up for the read is WWE Hall of Famer upset with ESPN. Now, on a recent edition of an ESPN program, its host, Dan Le Batard, referred to former WWE superstar Andre the Giant as a world-class drunk, which infuriated one of WWE Hall of Famer in Jake the Snake Roberts, who took to Twitter to comment the following. And the tweets read, "Sportscaster, screw you, Dan Le Batard. Whatever, for calling Andre a world-class drunk. Class, really? Double question mark. Shut your whole mouth." A little bit different. Shut your whole mouth. Whole as in spelled H-O-L-E. I would have said shut your cake hole, but, He goes on to tweet, "No disputing Andre enjoyed drinking. I knew him for 35 years and only saw him drunk once. Besides, Mama said never bash the dead. That's all." I do have to agree with him. Why kind of bring Andre the Giant and say something like that about him now that he's long dead? It makes no sense to me why they do that. But good to see that a fellow Hall of Famer would stick up for the Giant and speak out about it, because really, what was the point of saying something like that? World-class drunk. Everyone knew, and it was a big story in the locker room, and even now, wrestlers like to talk about the way Andre the Giant could drink. But none of them have really said that he was like a slobbering drunk, staggering and falling all over the place. To me, that would be a world-class drunk, not being able to control your bodily functions and falling and tripping and being a fucking dick. That's a world-class drunk. But never hearing a true story where this guy was like that. Give me a fucking break. You don't need to go and slander a guy's name now that he's passed on. Thanks for Jake the Snake being around, because this guy needs to be put in his fucking place. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right. Dan Le Batard, is that the way it's pronounced? Bury your head in the sand or in the toilet. That's my opinion. Bully Ray on Ring of Honor debut. More exciting than Mania. Character being too much of a bully for WWE, and he does discuss a little bit about Devon. Now, Bully Ray spoke with ESPN on a number of wrestling topics. Here are some of the highlights. Excuse me. No, I drank all my coffee. I'm shit out of luck. So, the Bully Ray character being too much of a bully for WWE, and he responds, I mean, the WWE have other characters there that do bully-ish type things. But the whole basis of Bully Ray is he is the quintessential bully. His entire character is built around bullying people. Built around making people do things against their will. And with the business they have going on now, the Be a Star program and more PG rated stuff, bullying being such a sensitive subject around an entire world, it just doesn't work. Or it just wasn't gonna work out. He was asked about Devon Dudley staying with WWE. And he responded, Ring of Honor reached out to me, I think, the day after I left WWE. They were actually interested in bringing in both me and Devon into Ring of Honor, which would have been insane. Devon had made a life decision where he wanted to devote a little more time to his family, and physically in the ring wanted to slow it down just a little bit. I still have gas in the tank. I think Ring of Honor was the perfect place for me to continue as Bully Ray, and I do agree. Bully Ray, even as a singles competitor, I watched him when he did the whole Bully Ray gimmick in TNA, and I did enjoy it. I don't see it working in with WWE because they are such sticklers when it comes to having an actual good heel. And Bully Ray played an exceptionally well heel, be it with the Dudley Boys or when he went into singles competition as Bully Ray. This guy can do shit that not a lot of people can in the ring when it comes to acting like a heel, and he would have been good for WWE, but the sensitivity over there, I only have one thing to say about it. Drink a glass of goddamn cement and harden the fuck up for a change, and maybe your product will improve. And maybe we get actual heels instead of guys that don't know how, they're skirting the gray area. They're supposed to be babyface, but they're doing they have heel-like tendencies throughout their matches. Makes no sense to me. None at all. On debuting in Ring of Honor being more exciting than WrestleMania. Bully Ray goes on to say, I've told people that going out there in the Hammerstein for Ring of Honor that night was actually more exciting for me than walking out in front of 100,000 people at WrestleMania. A lot of people say that's impossible. It can't be. You're crazy. For me, it's more exciting because of the intimate feel. When you come up in a company like ECW and you're used to that intimacy, that's what you really crave. And to me, it's understandable. I've gone to a few indie shows, and it is more comfortable and more intimate because you can get up closer to that ring. You're not like sitting way up in the nosebleed sections. You can do things a lot more easily in a small company than, say, WWE. Like, I know when I went to Monday Night Raw years ago up in Toronto, it was a match between Mankind and Stone Cold Steve Austin. That was the main event of the night. Now, I can't remember the year. I think it was somewhere around 2002, 3. I can't quite remember. But at the end of the match, Stone Cold is laid out bloody, dripping blood all over the damn place. Now, the fans were all up on their feet cheering him on because it was an excellent fucking match. And they were cheering him on to get him back up to his feet. Well, when we first got there, we were told, oh, you can't have those signs because you're sitting over in that section. We were 5th row from the front. And I believe it was because the boom camera was like right there behind us. I think that was the reason. And then, when at the very end, like the show was over, it was already off air. This was just the fans showing support and acknowledging what these two men put themselves through. And me and my buddies that had gone with me stood up on the chairs cheering them on while we had security over there in minutes telling us to get our feet down off the chairs and on the floor immediately, or we'd be removed from the building. It's like, it's the end of the show. They already announced that they're off air. Give me a fucking break, So you can do stuff like that at the smaller arenas and stuff like that. And, like I said, you can get a little bit closer to the wrestlers, get a little bit closer to the ring. It isn't oversized. So I can understand why he thinks it feels better and it's more intimate than going to like WrestleMania where there's, anywhere from 60 to 100,000 people. Scott Steiner rips WWE and takes shots at Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Now, the source here is Nick's Strength and Power. Can't remember the site I got it from. I think it was Wrestling Inc. So, former WCW and WWE star Scott Steiner recently did an interview with Nick's Strength and Power. You can, these are just the highlights of that interview. He was asked if he still keeps up with bodybuilding. He answers, "Not as much as I used to. I still look at it at the magazines and stuff, but in the day with Ronnie Coleman, there's a fairly famous photo with me doing the bicep pose with him. I also did a pose with Arnold at the Arnold Classic one year in Columbus, Ohio. I did, but not as much." Has he been to the Arnold Classic lately? And he says, "I haven't in a while. I've been way too busy. That was a pretty cool event." He was asked on WWE, and he simply states, "Fuck the WWE." And he's asked why he feels that way, and he goes on to say, "Who's in charge and who runs it? There ain't two bigger douchebags than Triple H and Stephanie." If he watched WrestleMania 33, hell no. Let me ask you something. Why did Triple H make that statue of Ric Flair? So where is it now? Where do you think it's at? There's no Hall of Fame. You got the address to the Hall of Fame? That was a question he asked. Where is it at? Where's your guess? Exactly. Triple H's house. And they better not make one a Macho Man. She, as in Stephanie, made one. Oh, that's definitely in Triple H's house then. And he laughs. Has he ever measured his biceps? You know what? There's so many different stories with the whole Macho Man and Stephanie McMahon so-called affair. No one really knows if it is true or not. Stephanie McMahon was a very young woman at the time when Macho Man stated that he had the affair with her. And I just do think it's funny that he made a reference to that by saying, oh, the statue's in Triple H's house as well. He goes on to say, "I never measured my biceps. I never checked my weight. I just lifted to get big. I just lifted heavy, and if I look good, then that's good with me." Has he ever considered doing bodybuilding when he was younger? And he said, "No, I wrestled in college. Right after college, I got right into professional wrestling. So, I was always a big fan of Arnold and Ferrigno, the guys back in the day. After college, I never really knew what I wanted to do, so that's why I got into professional wrestling." So, not much on, like I said, the news is fucking weak this week. Very weak. Not a hell of a lot of shit out there to report on, but, calling Stephanie McMahon and Triple H douchebags and then referring to Macho Man and Stephanie with the statue, it's there for a little bit of a laugh. Up next, Matt Hardy wants the Young Bucks in WWE, and don't we all want some good tag teams in the WWE for a change? We want actual tag teams that came up together and built their career on being a tag team. But what does WWE do with tag teams like this, or any tag team? Well, they're in for about a year or two, and then they split them up. For some reason, you can't have a long-lasting tag team. That's just not a good thing anymore. And so it makes me worry because they're already talking about breaking up the Hardy Boys, and just because of the broken Matt Hardy bit. I don't care one way or another because they've split up before. The storyline's been done before. But the Young Bucks, came up very similar to the way Matt and Jeff Hardy did. They've got a whole huge pack of fans behind them. And it makes me worried. How would WWE handle them in the long run? Because I wouldn't want to see these guys broken up for, just, oh, I think we can get more money if we just push this one guy and just fade the other one back. I don't want to see that. But on Twitter, Matt Hardy was asked who he thought the best tag teams were so far in 2017, and he responded with not just Jeff and himself, but the Young Bucks as well. Hardy then said he would love to see them join the Hardys in the WWE. And once again, he did change his tag, his name, his handle on Twitter. It is now the Vessel of MMH. He goes on to say the Hardys and the Bucks of Youth are appropriate selections. I would love to see the Bucks join us in #GreatGame. They are special. Like I said, everyone wants to see the Young Bucks, but it's going to be a while. They signed with Ring of Honor. I don't know for how long, but it's going to be a while, regardless. Eventually, one day, maybe. Now, rumors for the day. We're going to start off with the Broken Hardys gimmick is being teased because WWE is close to a settlement with Anthem to buy the rights to it. We've heard this before. We've had Rebby Hardy state that, why would WWE even consider buying their gimmick when, it's theirs already? They already own the rights. I don't really know what the hell's going on with these rumors anymore, especially when it comes to the Broken Hardy gimmick. And there's a lot of people sick and tired of hearing about it already. Second rumor of the day is Jinder Mahal isn't planned to win the WWE Championship, and his push in the main event may not even last all that long. So what's the point, really? Well, you've gone and put all your baskets into one division right now, and so you kind of lost what you're going to do with the WWE World Title on SmackDown. You got AJ Styles fighting Kevin Owens coming up for the United States title. And it's rumored that AJ Styles will be back in the running for the heavyweight title. So, who really knows what the hell they're thinking about? I actually would like to see Jinder Mahal win the title, even if it's like a couple-month run. Even just 2 months of a reign. It built him up, and that's the purpose of SmackDown. They keep on saying, giving people the opportunity to prove themselves. Now, Jinder Mahal isn't really a fan favorite, even as a heel. His wrestling is kind of like not the best, and his finisher is shit. But look at the way Randy Orton is. He's stale, he's boring, he's dry. He repeats himself from week to week. It's almost the identical promo from week to week, and I'm sick and tired of hearing it. I want to see someone else have that title for a bit. They're talking about bringing Rusev back. Rusev and Jinder Mahal could continue their feud for a title match. Who knows? I don't know if I'd want to see it, but, just an idea. Then there's the third rumor, and this kind of just goes with what I just said. Speaking of that, Rusev is planning to enter the title picture, at least briefly, once he returns from his injury. Just give me a second, and I gotta get rid of something here. There we go. These two guys, they're just not on that level. I don't believe. Rusev could have been if they would have kept that push going for him when he first broke into the main roster. They ruined his push. They made him a jobber. They made him a joke. And now he comes back and says, either I get a title shot or I'm going back to Bulgaria. Really? That's what it's come down to. And I've said this before. You come to a new brand or a new organization or any kind of business in the real world. You have to start at the bottom. Unless they've hired you to be a top person because of your prior history. But Rusev and Jinder Mahal both low-level guys, jobbers on Raw. They come over and they demand title shots. Bang, they're getting them. Makes no sense to me. Makes absolutely no sense. WWE is keeping Shinsuke Nakamura from working a match on TV to better build a match with Dolph Ziggler at Backlash. You know, do what you gotta do, but please take that fucking, the artist known as Shinsuke Nakamura off. You know, just Shinsuke Nakamura does wonders. He doesn't need to be referred to as the artist known as. God damn it, he's not Prince. And then you got Jack Swagger pulling the same shit in the indies. The artist or the wrestler formerly known as Jack Swagger. The hell's wrong with these people? WWE appears to be planning monthly tapings for the UK show on the network, according to The Observer. You know what? Until I see what kind of product they're going to deliver, I don't really much care. 205 Live's the same way, you know. I really don't much care for it. It's not cruiserweight to me. Cruiserweights take high risks. They're not chained to the mat. And that's what we're getting. Now the next topic, not one I wanted to do, but I do a thing with the fans' reaction to some news, and so I'm going to Impact Wrestling ratings. Now, see, it isn't just WWE that is suffering bad ratings. It's Impact Wrestling, but then they have more of a reason to suffer. The viewership totals and ratings are in for this past week's lineup. More exactly, May 4th. And Impact Wrestling's viewership barely changed from the last week. The viewership total was 260K this week, barely up from 255K. The ratings number rebounded from 0.06 back to 0.07. Unlike last week, there was no NFL drafting drawing over 6 million viewers to blame on the sub 300K numbers. However, the NBA playoff games performed better this week than last. There was nothing major advertised for last night or this past week on Impact, even though there was an unannounced GFW title match. However, even if announced, the GFW title doesn't hold much weight in the Impact promotion. Impact Wrestling doesn't carry much weight in the wrestling business. Give me a break. They advertised another GFW title match for next week between Alberto El Patron and Magnus. We'll see if that has any effect on the numbers. No, it's not going to affect the numbers at all. But the fans' reactions, and there was a whole 2 reactions to this article because, frankly, no one gives a shit about Impact Wrestling these days. So the first one goes, or maybe people are already sick of Jeff Jarrett's booking. That is comment number 1. Comment number 2, the TNA GFW roster isn't one that has much mainstream wrestling appeal, with several of the roster, El Patron, Richards, Bram, or Braum, whatever they call him, Seidel, having burnt bridges in other promotions, dudes that cannot go in the ring anymore and or are relics from a former era, as in Homicide, Scott Steiner, Abyss, Matt Morgan, Sanjay Dutt, and a lot of average talent. It's not surprising the ratings are in the toilet. The booking of Jeff Jarrett does not help. But the worst thing about the show is, without a shadow of a doubt, Josh fucking Matthews. He is just the worst. That is your comment or your fan reactions of the day. That is your news of the day. That is all the news that I could find out there. I don't do the paid subscriptions because, frankly, I'm not making any money off this show as it is. So, until I do, I will then start subscribing to these news articles and being able to get that news that you can't get anywhere else. But like I said, that is the news today. Do me a favor, like I said, give me your thoughts on what I asked about reviewing older matches, giving you that at the end of these episodes, as well as your thoughts on the news I did deliver. What are your thoughts on, the bullshit that's going on right now? The, Charlotte and the nude photos that seem to constantly being leaked. It isn't just Charlotte, it's all these other ones. It's ridiculous by now. Just throw it out there, leave a comment. Let's be a little bit more interactive on this channel. Now, if you stuck it out, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe and like button, and continue to follow and share my videos out to your friends and family and whoever that are also interested in wrestling. Thank you very much. You guys have a good day. I'm hoping for some drier weather, and then I'll be able to work on my car, or my son's car, I should say, and give you some footage on that as well. Like I said, have a good day. I'm out of here.